Imagine a place where the air feels heavy, thick with the kind of silence that makes your ears ring. It's May 1968, and we're in Scotswood, a rundown corner of Newcastle upon Tyne, England. The streets are a mess. Crumbling Victorian houses slated for demolition, abandoned shells where kids play unsupervised, weaving through rubble and rusted junk like it's their own private kingdom. The adults are too busy scraping by to notice what's brewing in the shadows. Poverty's got its claws in deep here, and the kids? They're wild, free, and forgotten. But something's off. Something's wrong. You can feel in the way the wind cuts through those empty houses, carrying whispers of something awful about to happen. On May 25th, 1968, the day before her 11th birthday, a girl named Mary Bell steps out of that gloom and does something so monstrous, it'll echo through history. She lures a little boy, 4-year-old Martin Brown, into one of those derelict houses. Picture it. A tiny kid, all chubby cheeks and trusting eyes, toddling after this dark-haired girl with a sparkler stare that's just a little too sharp. They slip inside, the door creaking shut behind them, and then silence. Until it's not. Mary's hands, small, pale, child hands, wrap around Martin's throat. She squeezes. Hard. There's no rush, no panic, just a cold, deliberate press until his little body goes limp, his breath snuffed out like a candle. She doesn't scream or cry or run. She just leaves him there, sprawled on the dusty floor, a broken toy in a forgotten place. But that's not where it ends. Oh no, this is just the beginning. 2 months later, on July 31st, she strikes again. This time, it's 3-year-old Brian Howe. She's got a friend with her, Norma Bell, no relation, just a 13-year-old caught up in Mary's orbit. They take Brian to a wasteland near the railway tracks, a spot littered with concrete blocks and weeds. What happens next is the stuff of nightmares. Mary strangles him, her fingers digging into his soft neck while he squirms, gasps, then stills. But she's not done. She grabs a pair of scissors, broken, jagged, and starts carving. She hacks at his thighs, leaving puncture marks like some sick signature. Then she turns to his tiny genitals, slicing and mutilating with a calm that's beyond comprehension. Clumps of his fair hair fall to ground as she snips them away, and on his belly, she etches an M with a razor blade, a mark that won't show up until days later when the skin shifts. It's playful, almost like a kid doing on a page, except the page is a dead toddler, and the ink is blood. The scene's a horror show. Brian's body half hidden between those concrete blocks, covered in grass and purple weeds, the scissors glinting nearby. When the cops find him, they're shaken. One of them, Inspector James Dobson, later says it's a terrible playfulness that gets him, the gentle, twisted way she went at it, like she was enjoying every second. And Mary? She's not hiding in a corner, trembling with guilt. She's out there, leading Brian's sister Pat around, pretending to help look for him, pointing at those blocks and saying he might be playing behind them, with a smirk tugging at her lips. She's laughing when the coffin rolls by at his funeral, rubbing her hands together like she's won some twisted game. This isn't just murder. This is a performance, a slow, deliberate descent into something evil, and she's only 11 years old. So who is this kid? How does a girl not even old enough to ride a bike alone turn into a monster who strangles toddlers for kicks? Let's peel back the layers, because Mary Bell's story isn't just about what she did. It's about how she got there, a slow burn of darkness that started long before that first kill. Mary Flora Bell was born on May 26, 1957, in a grimy hospital in Northumberland, England. Her mom, Betty McCricket, was just 17, a wild, unstable girl who'd already carved out a reputation as a local prostitute. When the nurse handed her the baby, Betty didn't coo or cry. She sneered and said, "Take that thing away from me." That's Mary's welcome to the world, a rejection so cold it sets the tone for everything to come. Her dad? Nobody knows for sure. Some say it was Billy Bell, a small-time crook with a rap sheet for armed robbery, but he's not around much, and when he is, he's no saint. Mary's stuck with Betty, and Betty's a walking disaster, mentally unhinged, hooked on booze, and gone for days at a time, working the streets in Glasgow, while Mary's left to fend for herself. Home's a hellhole. Scotswood's already a dump, but Mary's house is worse, filthy, chaotic, and soaked in tension. Betty's not just absent. She's a storm when she's there. Family whispers say she tried to kill Mary more than once. Picture this. A toddler Mary, barely 2, accidentally tumbling out a first-floor window, landing hard enough to mess up her prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that keeps impulses in check. Another time, Betty shoves sleeping pills down her throat, staging it like an overdose gone wrong. There's even a story where she tries to sell Mary to a woman desperate for a kid, only for Mary's aunt to swoop in and drag her back. And then when Mary's 4, Betty finds a new way to cash in. She starts pimping her out. Yeah, you heard that right. Men come and go, and little Mary's forced into things no kid should ever know, her mom barking orders from the sidelines. That's the recipe. Neglect, abuse, and a front row seat to human garbage. Mary doesn't cry when she's hurt. She just stares, those sharp blue eyes going blank. She's violent early on, smashing a toy into an uncle's face, kicking and pinching other kids at school. Her kindergarten teacher catches her choking a classmate and asks why. Mary's answer? Why? Can it kill him? She's 5, already lonely, already cold, already testing the edges of something dark. When she's 8, she watches a bus plow over her 5-year-old friend, blood pooling on the street. She doesn't scream or sob. She just stands there, soaking it in. By 10, she's a ticking bomb. Pretty? Sure. Dark hair, pale skin, a spark of intelligence that makes you look twice. But there's something off. Kids tease her, call her a liar for her wild stories, and she lashes back hard. She's got no anchor, no love, just a mom who'd rather see her dead, and a world that doesn't care. That's Mary Bell, a kid forged in a crucible of pain, her mind a tangle of rage and curiosity, waiting for the moment it all spills over. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what she did, because this isn't some vague, she killed and moved on story. Mary's crimes are vivid, brutal, and so detailed they'll stick with you like a bad dream you can't shake. Here's how it all went down, step by stomach-churning step. May 25th, 1968. It's a Saturday, warm enough for kids to be out playing, and Martin Brown's one of them. He's 4, a round-faced little guy with a mop of brown hair, probably chasing after something shiny or toddling around without a care. Mary spots him. She's 10, almost 11, and she's got that look, like she's sizing him up, a predator clocking prey. She doesn't grab him by force. She's smarter than that. She talks to him, maybe smiles, her voice soft and coaxing. "Want to see something cool?" she might have said, leading him by the hand into one of those empty houses on St. Margaret's Road. Inside, it's dim, the air thick with dust and rot. The floors littered with broken glass and splintered wood, walls peeling like skin. Martin's probably giggling, oblivious, while Mary's heart's pounding, not with fear, but excitement. She gets him alone, backs him into a corner, and then it happens. Her hands shoot out, wrapping around his throat. He's tiny, barely 3 feet tall, and she's not much bigger, but she's strong, freakishly strong for a kid. She squeezes, her fingers sinking into his soft flesh, cutting off his air. His eyes bulge, his little legs kick, but she doesn't let go. She watches, fascinated, as the life drains out of him, his face turning red, then purple, then slack. It's quiet after that, just her breathing, steady and calm, while Martin's crumpled at her feet. She doesn't touch him after. Doesn't need to. She just walks out, leaving him like trash, his body cold by the time 2 local boys stumble across it later. The cops show up, find an empty painkiller bottle nearby, and figure he overdosed. Case closed. No foul play. But Mary's not done playing. The next day, she's back with Norma Bell, peeking at the scene, watching the chaos unfold. She even knocks on Martin's door, asking his mom if she can see him in his coffin, her voice dripping with fake innocence. Then with Norma, she breaks into a nursery school nearby, smashing stuff up and leaving notes scrawled in childish handwriting. "I murder so that I may come back." The police laugh it off as a prank. Big mistake. Fast forward to July 31st, 1968. Mary's 11 now, and she's got an itch she can't scratch. Martin wasn't enough. She wants more. Brian Howe's her next mark. He's 3, blonde and small, the kind of kid who sticks close to home. Mary knows him, knows his sister Pat, knows the routines of Scotswood. She teams up with Norma again, and they find Brian playing near his house. It's late afternoon, the sun dipping low, casting long shadows over the wasteland by the railway tracks. A perfect spot, isolated, littered with junk and those big concrete blocks. They don't waste time. Mary's in charge, always is. She tells Brian to come with them, her tone sweet but firm, and he follows, trusting as a lamb. They lead him to the blocks, out of sight, and that's when the mask drops. Mary grabs him, her hands clamping around his neck like before. Brian fights, tiny fist flailing, legs kicking up dirt, but he's no match. She strangles him, slow and steady, feeling his pulse fade under her grip. Norma's there, watching, maybe helping, but it's Mary's show. He's dead in minutes, his body limp in the weeds. Now here's where it gets sick. Mary doesn't walk away this time. She plays. She grabs a pair of broken scissors, the kind with one bent blade, and goes to work. She stabs at his thighs, little jabs that leave bloody dots, like she's testing how deep she can go. Then she moves lower, slicing into his genitals, peeling skin back with a focus that's almost surgical. Hair comes next. She snips clumps of it, letting it flutter down like confetti. And that M on his belly? She takes a razor blade, maybe from home, maybe stolen, and carves it carefully, a shallow cut that'll bloom later as the body bloats. It's not rage driving her. It's curiosity, a twisted glee. She's sculpting him, turning his corpse into her canvas. When she's done, she steps back, satisfied. Norma's jittery, but Mary's cool as ice. They leave him there, half hidden, and she even toys with Pat later, pretending to search for Brian while knowing exactly where he's rotting. At the funeral, she's outside the house, giggling as a coffin passes, her hands twitching with that same sick thrill. The cops find Brian days later, and this time they can't shrug it off. The mutilation, the scissors, the sheer weirdness of it. It's no accident. They're looking for a killer, and Mary's about to step into the spotlight. So what's ticking inside Mary's head? How does a kid go from rough housing to ripping apart toddlers like it's a game? Let's crack her open, psychologically, and figure out what turned her into this. Mary's not your average 11-year-old. The shrinks who see her later call it psychopathy, and yeah, that fits, but it's more than just a label. She's got no empathy, no little voice saying, "Hey, this is wrong." Most kids feel bad if they step on a bug. Mary's out here choking kids and grinning about it. That prefrontal cortex damage from the window fall, it's a big piece. That part of your brain's like the brakes on a car. It stops you from doing dumb, impulsive shit. Hers are shot. So when she gets mad or curious or bored, there's nothing holding her back. Then there's the trauma. Betty's abuse wasn't just neglect. It was a masterclass in breaking a kid. Being pimped out at 4? That's not something you get over. It twists how you see people, turns them into objects, not humans. Mary's mom treated her like a thing to use or toss. So why wouldn't she do the same? Add in the beatings, the abandonment, the constant message that she's worthless, and you've got a kid who's not just hurt, she's furious. But she doesn't cry or scream like most would. She bottles it, lets it fester, and then it explodes in these quiet, deadly bursts. The killings themselves? They're power trips. Mary's life's a mess. She's got no control over Betty, no say in what happens to her body. But with Martin and Brian, she's the boss. She picks them because they're small, helpless, easy to dominate. Strangling's intimate. You feel every twitch, every gasp. It's not quick like a gun. It's slow, personal. And she's soaking in, feeding off that rush of being God for a minute. The mutilation's the same deal, carving Brian up as her saying, "I own you, even after you're gone." It's playful because to her, it is a game, a sick little experiment to see what happens when you break something alive. And don't sleep on the attention angle. After Martin, she's dropping hints, those nursery notes showing up at his house. She wants people to notice, to see how clever she is. When she talks to the cops later, try and pin Brian's death on some random kid with scissors, it's not just a dodge. It's her showing off like, "Look how smart I am. I know stuff you don't. She's a narcissist in training, starved for a spotlight, and killings are stage. The cops aren't dumb forever. Brian's murder lights a fire under them, and they start connecting dots. Martin's death gets a second look. No way a 4-year-old overdosed in a derelict house with no adults around. The nursery break-in, those creepy notes, Brian's carved-up body. It's all pointing to something bizarre, something juvenile. They round up the local kids, and Mary and Norma stick out like sore thumbs. Mary's slippery at first. She's got the story about an 8-year-old boy hitting Brian. Says he had broken scissors. Details only the killer would know. That's her slip-up, and Detective Chief Inspector James Dobson clocks it. She's the one, he thinks, watching her dodge questions with that blank stare. Norma's easy to crack. She's nervous, spilling bits and pieces. Enough to tie them to Brian. August 1968. They're both hauled in, charged with murder. The trial kicks off December 5th at Newcastle Assizes, and it's a circus. 2 girls, 11 and 13, in the dock for double manslaughter. It's unheard of. Mary's mom's there, wailing, her blonde wig slipping off like a bad soap opera, while Mary sits stone-faced, those blue eyes drilling holes in everyone. The prosecution lays it out. Martin and Brian, strangled by the same hands, linked by the nursery notes and Mary's own big mouth. Her defense leans on diminished responsibility. She's a kid. She's damaged. She's not all there. The shrinks back it up, slapping psychopathic personality disorder on her, saying she's wired wrong. 9 days later, verdict's in. December 17th, 1968. Mary's guilty of manslaughter for both boys, sentenced to be detained at Her Majesty's pleasure, basically locked up indefinitely. Norma walks free. Peg gives a clueless tag-along. Mary's 11 and a half. Britain's youngest female killer, and the courtroom's buzzing with shock and disgust. She doesn't blink. Where do you put an 11-year-old murderer? Britain's scrambling. Prison's too harsh. Psych wards can't handle her. Regular kid homes aren't secure enough. They settle on Red Bank Secure Unit, a boys-only reform school in Merseyside, starting February 1969. She's a lone girl among 24 roughneck teens, and it's a weird fit. The staff's decent, led by James Dixon, a Navy vet who's all about structure. Mary latches onto him. He's a dad she never had, firm but fair, and she starts shaping up, learning to read better, keeping her temper in check. But it's not all rosy. She claims later she was sexually abused there by staff, by inmates, starting at 13. No proof. But it's not hard to imagine a place like that. Betty's still around, visiting, stirring up trouble, selling Mary's poems to the tabloids for cash. Mary hates her for it, but she's stuck. By 16, November 1973, she's moved to HM Prison Style, a women's joint in Cheshire. It's a step down, no Dixon, no structure, just a cage. She's restless, applies for parole, gets denied. Then, in 1977, at 20, she bolts from an open prison with another inmate, hooks up with some guy for a few wild days, says she lost her virginity then, dreaming of a baby to kill the loneliness. She's caught quick, hauled back, but it's a glimpse of the chaos still simmering inside. Finally, 1980 rolls around. She's 23, and they let her out. 12 years in, and she's free. New name, new life, courtesy of a court order hiding her identity. She's not the kid who carved up Brian anymore, or so she says. But can you really scrub that kind of stain clean? Mary doesn't vanish into thin air. She settles down, has a daughter in 1984, born May 25th, same day she killed Martin. Freaky coincidence, and tries to play normal. Her kid doesn't know squat about mom's past until 1998, when Gittacerini's book Cries, Unheard drops, spilling Mary's story with her own words. Reporters swarm, and Mary's got to flee with her girl. Bed sheets over their heads to dodge the cameras. The High Court steps in 2003, lifelong anonymity for her daughter, even her granddaughter later on. It's called a Mary Bell Order now, a legal shield for ex-cons with baggage like hers. She's still out there, 67, as of today, March 21st, 2025. A grandma living under some fake name, blending in. She's admitted the killings, says her messed up childhood's no excuse. just an explanation. Some folks, like Martin's mom, June Richardson, hate that she's protected, arguing victims get no such break. Others see her as reformed, a woman who paid her dues. Me? I'm not sure what to think. Can a kid that twisted ever really change? Or is she just biding her time? That old darkness still lurking? Mary Bell's story isn't just a crime. It's a wound that won't heal. Two little boys, snuffed out for no reason but a girl's warped whims. A childhood so rotten it birthed a killer before she hit puberty. Every detail, the strangling, the scissors, that damn M. It's a puzzle of pain and terror that keeps you up at night, wondering how deep the human soul can sink. She's free now, a shadow slipping to the world, but the echoes of Scotswood in 1968 still scream. What do you reckon, monster or victim? Or both? Either way, she's proof some nightmares don't end when you wake up.